Charles Dickens's David Copperfield is often considered his most autobiographical novel, with the title character embodying both the struggles and triumphs of human development. As the narrator and protagonist, David plays a central role not only in moving the narrative forward, but also in offering insights into themes such as childhood, resilience, identity, and the moral challenges of adulthood. Dickens presents David as both an individual with a unique story and a symbolic figure who represents broader human experiences. Role in the narrative. David Copperfield is both the protagonist and narrator, serving as the lens through which the reader experiences the novel. His first-person narration begins with his birth and continues through his journey to maturity. Because David himself tells the story, readers are invited to share not only the events of his life, but also his reflections on them. The narrative follows the classic form of a Bildungsroman, or coming-of-age story. We watch David transition from a vulnerable child, mistreated by his stepfather, Mr. Murdstone, into a resilient young man who builds a career, seeks love, and eventually discovers his true path. Each stage of David's life, from his childhood hardships to his school days, early struggles in London, and later professional and personal development, mirrors the process of self-discovery and growth that defines human life. At the same time, David is more than just a passive observer of events. His moral choices, his capacity for loyalty and affection, and his mistakes in judgment all shape the story. For example, his blind admiration for Steerforth shows his youthful naivety, while his steady affection for Agnes Wickfield demonstrates his deeper, more enduring values. In this way, David's narrative role is not only to record events but also to embody the process of learning from them. Symbolic significance. As a child, David symbolizes the innocence of youth and the dangers of harsh authority. His suffering under Mr. Murdstone highlights the vulnerability of children in Victorian society, where strict discipline and child labor were common. David's early life serves as a critique of cruelty and neglect, with his innocence providing a sharp contrast to the hardness of the adult world. David also stands for the human capacity to grow through adversity. His survival of neglect, poverty, and exploitation, combined with his eventual success as a writer, symbolizes resilience. Dickens shows that personal strength is not the absence of suffering but the ability to rise above it. Throughout the novel, David symbolizes the gradual process of moral education. His admiration for Steerforth, his youthful romantic errors, and his eventual recognition of Agnes's steady virtues all symbolize the mistakes and lessons that shape a person's ethical character. Finally, David functions symbolically as a reflection of Dickens himself. The parallels between their lives, childhood hardship, work in a factory, and eventual success as writers suggest that David is Dickens's alter ego. This gives the character an additional layer of symbolic meaning, representing not only resilience in general, but specifically Dickens's own triumph over adversity. Broader implications. Through David's experiences, Dickens critiques the injustices of Victorian society. David's childhood illustrates the lack of protection for vulnerable children. His factory work exposes the exploitation of young laborers, and his encounters with people like Uriah Heep reveal the dangers of hypocrisy and false humility. David's life becomes a stage on which Dickens presents his social concerns, urging readers to reflect on issues of education, class, and justice. David's life story raises questions about what shapes a person's identity. Is it birth, social class, education, or personal choices that determine one's life outcomes? For David, identity is a mixture of all these. He begins life with some privilege but is thrust into hardship, and it is only through determination and moral growth that he builds his adult self. Dickens suggests that while circumstances shape us, our ultimate identity depends on how we respond to them. David's journey also underscores the importance of relationships in human development. Figures such as Peggotty, Aunt Betsy, Mr. Micawber, and Agnes provide love, guidance, or lessons that help David grow. By contrast, characters like the Murdstones or Uriah Heep reveal the harm that cruelty and dishonesty can cause. Through David, Dickens demonstrates that personal growth is not an isolated process, but one deeply shaped by human connections. Since David narrates his own life, the novel highlights the role of storytelling in shaping identity. By recounting his past, David makes sense of it and defines himself. This suggests that memory and narrative are essential tools for understanding who we are. In this way, David's story is not just about events but about the act of reflecting on them. David Copperfield's significance lies not only in his role as the novel's central character, but also in the symbolic and thematic weight he carries. For readers, his story is meaningful because it mirrors universal aspects of human experience. Childhood innocence, the struggles of adolescence, the search for identity, and the challenges of adulthood. Through David, Dickens illustrates both the difficulties of life and the possibility of rising above them. He shows that resilience, honesty, and affection can lead to fulfillment, even when life begins with hardship. At the same time, David's role as narrator underscores the significance of reflection and storytelling in shaping our identities. Conclusion: David Copperfield is more than just the hero of Dickens's novel. He is its heart, voice, and guiding spirit. As the protagonist, he leads readers through the experiences that shape his life. As a symbol, he represents innocence, resilience, and the process of moral learning. On a broader level, his story critiques social injustices, raises questions about identity, and emphasizes the importance of relationships and storytelling. By the end of the novel, David emerges as a fully realized individual, shaped by hardship but not defined by it. His journey exemplifies Dickens's conviction in the transformative power of perseverance, love, and self-reflection. For this reason, David Copperfield remains one of Dickens's most enduring creations, a character who speaks not only to his own time, but to the universal human experience of growing up and finding one's place in the world.